I'm Jesse from Shrink RC. Let's do a deep dive on my RC four-wheel drive Gelande II that I have fitted with a cruiser body. So this body, they call it a cruiser. It's obviously an FJ40. This was a ready to run, and I bought it originally with the D90 on it. We have mounts for that, and we have mounts for this. I usually forget to show the body mounts, so let me show you the body mounts first. Before I forget, there's our body mounts that we make for this at shrinkrc.com, and those replace the stuff that it comes with. You just get a nice clean plate underneath there, like that. For our mounts, you have to drill out the factory holes. There's about a 2.5 millimeter screw that they normally use in there, but I upgrade it to a 3 millimeter screw. So all you've got to do is drill a little 1/8 inch hole through the existing body there. I did the same thing to my D90. This chassis is pretty stock. One thing I did do is I wanted to get a little bit more length out of it, and I wanted to get a little bit more articulation. So I took out the 2-stage springs that they come with, and I had some incision springs laying around from a different build. And these are actually Vanquish incision springs that I put on there. And they're pretty smooth. Let me show you looks like I need some oil in there, doesn't it? So what I did, I thought I would just lengthen the stock links a little bit, but they have tiny little set screws in them holding together, and I didn't have the right stuff for it. So I just went through my parts bin of, this looks like this is an element piece here and a Traxxas piece here, and I used a combination of bits down here, and I just extended it just a little bit, about 1/4 inch, to get a little bit better crawling out of it. And when I did that, I cut open this fender area so that it would make more sense with the tire shifted back like that. I think I took a tiny piece of Robert's sole when I did that. This was painted by Robert Petza, who is ScaleRat20 on Instagram, and he painted and patinaed this for me. He has a service where he can sell you a fully painted and patinaed or not patinaed body ready to go. He deals with all of the different RC four-wheel drive bodies, so little plug for him there. And he painted this for me. I'm really happy with it. Like I say, I think I crushed his sole a little bit when I cut this opening here, but I sent him a picture of these new fender flares that I made for it the other day, and I think I won his heart back a little bit on that. So I just made those out of PETG, and I sanded them with 200 grit sandpaper to get that finish on it, and it just looks like the regular flare that you would see from, Bushwhacker. So when you have a Gelande from RC four-wheel drive, if you decide you want to change to a D90 body when you have the cruiser, or the other way around, the bodies don't come with the body mounts, and they don't sell them separately. It's kind of an odd thing. So luckily we're here to swoop in and save the day with our mounts, and those are the mounts for the cruiser, and we have some other ones for the D90. This front bumper was the bumper that was on the Defender. It was perfectly straight, and it was, about yay long. So I cut it down and I stuck it in a vise and bent. I think I must have tapped it with a hammer to do that. And I bent it to sort of recreate the look of more of an FJ style bumper on there, and I'm pretty happy with that. Under here you can see it's mostly stock, other than what I told you about with the links and the springs. In the back, this bumper was a Amazon special. And that bumper was, I don't know, it wasn't much. It was something like 30 bucks, but I just made it fit. I made a little adapter for it of my own, printed that up to get it to fit on the frame there. So the bumpers are the other thing I had a little bit of a hard time finding, so that's why I improvised like I did. see where I sanded the headlights with some fine grit sandpaper to kind of give them an old faded look to them. So I have two different dudes from Planet of the Apes. I have Taylor and Brett, and I can never remember which one's which, but I think that's Taylor. And he's wearing a outfit that you can buy separate on eBay. I bought that outfit for like $5. It comes from Chachi from Happy Days. So I actually have Chachi from Happy Days in another truck, and he's wearing the same outfit, but it's okay as long as I don't put them in the same party together at the same time, then, you know, nobody will be embarrassed. So the interior, Robert did this whole interior on here. It's really a special interior. It's probably my favorite part of the build. He's got the pattern on there. Got the rust inside. You can see how you can actually fit the whole doll in there. And there's a reason for that. This, you know, normally you wind up having to cut these dolls a little bit to fit in the 10th scale bodies. They advertise this as 10th scale, and it's a darn lie. This body is about 1 to 8.5. And another thing about that is, if you think about it, on a 1 and an 8.5 body, a 1.5 wheel is really, really tiny. That's something like a 13-inch wheel. And of course, these didn't have wheels that small. So I've put 1.9s on here. And these tires are, you'll note, they're also really big for a 10th scale. And a lot of guys will go, oh, hey, a tire that big's not scale accurate. But you got to remember, this truck is about 1 to 8.5. And so a 4.7 tire, I've worked out all the math on it at one point. It's not a crazy big tire. It's like a 38 or something like that. So that would make sense on a built Cruiser. You know, I put that truck over there for a reason, because it's the opposite. The Tamiya Tundra is about 1/12 scale. I do have 1.5s on that one. And the tires I have on it are also pretty small. They're like, those are like 3.8. And which, if that's a 1/12 scale, those are actually huge tires, right? They're like 42s or something. So I take that into consideration a little bit with the different trucks when I'm choosing my tire sizes. I like them to be scale realistic. And don't forget, these days there are tires that are, oh man, they're like 47, 48 inches. So that you can actually buy. So what is scale accurate is a moving target a little bit, but to me, these tires and wheels are on here are about right. And like I say, those are a 1.9. I'm trying to read, I don't have my glasses on, I'm sitting here trying to read these, but they're either 4.65 or 4.75, but you get the idea. They're pretty big tires for a 1/10 scale. They would not qualify as class 1, right? And I don't compete in any crawling competitions of any kind. I don't give a shit about following any crawling competition rules. So let's take the body off of here. I think I've shown you everything there is to see on the outside. Let's take the body off of here just to see if there's anything underneath that I'm forgetting to tell you about or show you. You can get a better look at the body mounts too. The guy Taylor in there. So here's my thing. All my dudes are 8-inch. I get the 8-inch dolls for everything, because that works out to be about right for a 10th scale, and most of my collection is hovering in the 10th scale, even though, as I mentioned, this truck is a little bigger than 10th scale. That one's a little bit smaller than 10th scale. In real life, that truck is actually much bigger than this one, if you know. And yet, when I put them side by side, you can see this one winds up being bigger, and that's simply not how it would be in real life. Let's take this body off. I'll set it right here. And there we are. There's the stock chassis underneath. Still using the stock battery tray. Still using all this stock back here. I changed up this a little bit because I wanted to put this different bumper on here. That's basically it. There's my RC4WD Gelande II Cruiser deep dive. I think I have that on there about where it goes. Thanks, peace.